And we're back here on the show. It's Liquid Lunch coming at you live. It's Billy Hugh, and we've got Hildegard, of course, because it's Friday. And we have Julia Norris here now from Port Colborne. So thrilling to have somebody from, because Welland and Port Colborne are like, almost the same.
And it's your hometown, is it not?
Yeah, yeah.
Small world.
Very small.
There is no coincidence in life. There must be a reason why we're all sitting here together. And the topic today, which
It is
we are
almost
talking
like
about.
no coincidence. That's what about, right?
Yeah.
There's no coincidences,
That's
right?
right. It's all divine.
We
divine
talked about a
appointments.
little bit about crisis and victimhood and all of that.
Mhm.
And now you are in a situation where you actually facilitate helping people who find themselves in a challenging spot, right?
Yes.
How did you get to that? You want to kind of lead us into how this came about? I'm sure you didn't get born thinking, I'm going to be a crisis management coach.
No. You kind of teach what you know. And my life has been a colorful, winding path. And I use colorful because I don't like framing it in the negative. There's been a lot of experiences that I would never wish on anybody. But once you get on the other side, you can reflect back on the benefit. Now, it took me many years to be able to even be open to the possibility that there might have been something good in all the garbage that I'd experienced. But I had experienced a lot of, unwanted stuff, including, like physical abuse, sexual abuse, rape, a whole lot of different things. I went to jail for abducting my children when actually what I had done was protected them from an abusive parent who, it was a moral choice versus a legal choice, and I did what felt right in me, and things went a different way. In the middle of all of that, I had this, in the magic of life unfolding, this quote came to me, excuse me, from Dr. Joan Borisenko, and I'd like to read it so that I get it exactly right. What if all the things that seem so unfair turn out to make sense after all? And when that came to me, I sat with that and I just contemplated, well, what if? What if? And what if, I think, is two magic words, because when you say what if, that opens the door for other possibilities to show themselves. And then, what if every life drama we needed for the growth of our soul was provided for us? And I thought, well, what if? What if there is something in all of this? Because darn, standing right there, I sure couldn't see any good. But as a parent, and how you can't, life just happens, and people are mean and whatever. So I'd always told my children, well, life is like a cake. You need the salt, you need the flour, you need the sugar, all of the things. And if you taste them individually, the sugar is nice, the baking soda not so much. But if you leave any of it out, it's not a cake. So having been teaching that to my children, it was like, crumb, well, really, what if I did need this as part of my cake? And instead of judging it and resisting it and making it wrong and it should be this way, which there definitely was a lot of that, it should be different than it was, I started contemplating, well, what if this is all divine? What if this is perfect? And through that, I was able to expand out and see other possibilities. I'm given the circumstances I require for my awakening. Every situation seen rightly contains the seeds of my freedom. So if I just have a different perspective and I see things in the right way, which is really just a different way, a non-judgmental way, then maybe it has a seed for my freedom. And in just sitting contemplating that, other possibilities arose. And I began to be able to see the gift in it. And probably the most powerful one was when I was sitting there in jail. I was obviously, I stood out like a sore thumb. I wanted to just kind of blend in with the walls, but I was different. And so I stood out, and so everybody was very attracted to me. It's like, but in this, where they were drawn to me, I started building relationships. And as we talked, I found out that every one of us were the very same. We all had the same core issue, that we believed that we were defective or unlovable in some way. And we had each taken a different train to get into the same spot. And when you peeled back all the masks and the stories, we were all thinking we were unlovable and there was something wrong with us. And when you have that belief, you act from that. So that's what you put out, and then that's what comes back, and then you get stuck in the cycle.
It's that self-fulfilling prophecy
Exactly.
that happens, right? Interesting, you should have that conversation in a jail of all places.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking earlier with possibility getting young people involved in making decisions, teaching young children to type in their statements, have a contract with parents or with people they had an argument with, and find their own resolution. That's empowering. This is exactly what's missing, right? In the past, I didn't grow up that way. Did you grow up that way, making decisions, being empowered, saying you can do things? I don't know. Let me ask you this. What led you from being in prison to now supporting people who feel that they're not good enough, that they're defective?
Because as I saw myself and these other women, it was very easy to love these women because I could see it very clearly. Oh my gosh, you're just a wounded little girl who is trying to hide the bad, unlovable parts of you that really don't exist, but that's your perception of yourself. So it was very easy for me to love them. And then one day it just clicked, going, oh my gosh, if they're lovable, maybe I'm lovable. Well, that's something different. And so I sat and contemplated that. And as we were talking earlier, when you ask the universe things, the universe will answer and things will start to show up. So as I was asking the what ifs and if this is true, show me, help me see, I want to see the good and the gifts. And people started showing up, opportunities started showing up, and that's when I really got on my healing path. And I had the wonderful opportunity as I first got in to the healing path of experiencing this process called The Journey by Brandon Bays, which accesses cellular memories, and then you're able to address it at that level, at the cellular memory level, and release it. And my first process, I had, well, the group of people who I had been victimized by sexual assault and rape and things, that showed up. And my mind's like going, oh no, this is going to be really difficult and painful to relive all this. But the process wasn't anything like that. And we were able to deal with things on a, I want to say like a soul level, but it wasn't from the mind level. And from that expanded space, there was a larger view of what had really taken place so that I could let go of the pain and the anger and the bitterness and all the things that had bound me that set my vibrational tone that then attracted similar things to me all my life. So I was able to break free of that pattern of thinking and believing these awful untruths about myself, and at the same time I had a physical healing because I had been having female problems up until that point, and then after that, nothing, and that was over 10 years ago.
Like what
And it's
happened?
like-
Was there like, I mean, can you describe that? Was there like a, I don't know, a zap?
It was very funny because it was like this tingling. If you've been pregnant, sorry, I don't know if you'll be able
I
to
have.
relate with this one, but when you feel the baby moving, that kind of this feel, that's what was happening down here at my ovaries. I'm like going, oh, now that's weird. Is this normal? Oh my gosh, what's happening? And I was there with a good friend of mine. She goes, well, let's just wait and see. And then it was warm and tingly, and after about 3 hours, nothing.
So was that like a special healing session, or?
It was using guided imagery, and based on the body's wisdom, what you're ready to deal with is what will present in the session.
So was
And,
that in working with Brandon Bays?
It was through one of her facilitators and it was just being introduced to Canada. Now it's been here and for many, many years, and I'm now going through the practitioner program so that I can be a practitioner. I can offer sessions, I'm just not an official practitioner, but it is phenomenal.
So it's a deep release of trauma or
Yes.
pain, so
yes.
to speak?
And the stories that I hear back from people who I've gotten to do this with have all been phenomenal. They might be like at the mind level going, oh my gosh, I don't want to relive any trauma. But you don't. You're at a totally different space in going into that. And then the results have been amazing. Everybody that I've ever done that with, it's been amazing, positive results. And then life changes from that.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's very, very cool. So from doing this, that was my introduction into outside of mainstream. And so I was hooked. Okay, I want to see what else is possible. And all these different teachers presented that it just expanded me. So then from this place of being able to see from a larger point of view, if you will, it's easier to support someone in finding that within themselves. So for example, if somebody has lost their job or whatever, they come in thinking employment is their issue. Well, that's just like the fruit of the tree. There's a deeper thing that this is just the manifestation of. And then we can expand out, ask the right questions, and they can find their way to their own answers inside. I don't give advice, I don't give answers. I have answers for me, I don't have answers for you, but I can ask questions that will help draw the answers out of you, because you have all your own answers. Crisis, we typically look at crisis as like an emergency or something that's
something drastic, like
Yeah,
there is
yeah.
somebody who is so scared in a situation, they don't know what to do. And when we are frightened, we can't think straight.
Right, right. It pulls us out of our thinking brain into the fight or flight
Right.
piece. But if you go to the Greek word, it means decision or decide, which is like a point of a decision that's a turning point. And I really like that because that's how I look at crisis. It's an invitation for you to step into the larger, more authentic version of you, because we have our masks and our stories and stuff that we tend to hide behind. And then when crisis comes, then you can go into fear or not. You can go into truth. And typically we go into fear and then we're in the fight or flight. But with this opened me up, this quote opened me up to the possibility of going into the truth of it. And what a different outcome, totally different outcome. So in that, when a crisis presents, whichever way you want to look at it as how we use it or from the Greek, it's a beautiful opportunity if you are willing to have the eyes for that and be willing to see what gift is in there. Where is that seed that holds, my freedom to get out of this pattern that I've been locked into for however long?
That's a good point. Now, I'm just putting myself into the situation. There's somebody stuck in this pattern. I'm in crisis. Life isn't pretty, and all your pretty words do not mean anything to me. Somebody may be listening to us and, oh, yeah, right, they have no clue. Now what? How do you get somebody to actually pick up the phone to call for help? Because I can tell you in some of my crisis moments, I didn't trust anybody.
Yeah. Well, I don't know that I can really do any of that, because it's more of a, if you resonate, you're going to be drawn. If you feel the call, that urge, you'll respond or you won't respond. But I'm here to hold space to be able to assist for those who do show up and are interested in exploring that avenue.
So now, somebody picked up the phone, called you. What's the next step?
Okay, so we would meet and
Let's
let
say in
them
a situation, I'm at home, I want to run away from my husband, I need help.
Well, let's talk. What are the situations that
you deal
you
with?
have dealt with, or that you normally deal with, or?
There's a lot of different things. Court grooming and support, a youth going into court for his third drug charge. And with that, we just prepared for court. We had a really nice discussion because he did the whole, I'm all that kind of whatever. And it was like, I stripped it away. I didn't judge him. I said, you know what, this is a crutch. If you had a broken leg, I wouldn't go, stop using those crutches. You're just trying to mask whatever pain that you're not ready to look at. It's okay. So I didn't make him wrong for his drug use, which no adult had ever done that before, but that immediately built rapport. So then he was able to open up. And so we just talked about the practicalities of presenting. I mean, you're going before the judge for the third time. He's going to be going, what's up? We need to do something for you to smarten up. So we talked about strategies on how to present, to how to maybe soften how the judge might want to judge him. And then at the end of the session, he's going, well, you know what? I really don't like that I do drugs, and I do want to stop one day. I can't yet. I want to be a drug counselor one day because it's wrecked my life, and I don't want people in the same position I'm in.
Wow.
But I'm not ready to drop it yet, but when I do, I'm going to call you. And it's like, that was success.
Right.
That's a super
That-
breakthrough.
That's
It was
amazing.
huge,
Yeah.
huge. And I think that's kind of really the key of a lot of stuff, because we judge ourselves and our lives and our situations, and then we judge others. And then when you feel the judgment off of others, you put up these defenses and these walls, and we never can connect, really. And when you just allow somebody to be who they are, their warts and everything, then it just opens, and that's when magic can really happen. Other things have been like unemployment, parent-child conflict. It's just kind of whatever shows up. A woman who was in an abusive situation, and having that been my background, I could totally relate everybody around me was going, why do you let him treat you that way? Why do you let him treat your daughter that way? But I had a girlfriend who had a different approach and said, here's a book. I think you would enjoy reading it. And I thought, oh, well, I'll read this book so I can better understand where she came from. So she kind of got in the back door. As I read the book, it's like, oh my gosh, somebody's standing outside my window. This is my relationship. Oh my gosh, I'm in an abusive relationship. But for years, people were coming up and telling me, but I couldn't hear it. And then once I could hear it, then it was like, oh, well, I can't turn a blind eye to this anymore, because one day my girls, who they were like, I don't know, I'd have to do the math, but like 5 and 9 or something, I'm going, one day they're going to bring boys home who are mean as everything to them, and I'm going to go, oh, I'm so in love with Charlie. He hits me and he calls me names, but we're so in love. And I can't say anything because that's what I've modeled. I have to get my stuff together so I can model something different so that they can make a different choice. So when this woman presented, I knew I couldn't go, oh, it's abusive. And it's like, okay, so what's it like for you? So we talked about the feelings, and is that what she wants for her life, and how it's affecting her children, and the modeling. And I just asked questions, and over a course of like three get-togethers, and I gave her resources. Well, if you decide, here are some things that are available. I'm always available. Just give me a shout. And 3 sessions, she came back. She goes, I've moved out. I've gotten an apartment. I've gotten this and this and that. And she had accessed the different supports, and you could just see her power was back. She had reclaimed a part of her power. She was still afraid of what might happen with him, but just that little thread of her own power, then she was able to grab more and make a cord of her own personal power.
Once we created an invisible prison for ourselves, once we have the awareness, then something can be done. You know? And it seems you have that authenticity. You can look through all the masks, and you hold people to be authentic with you, at least for that moment that you have them. That then helps them to say, oh my God, yeah, there is something I can work with.
And I don't make people wrong or tell them what to do, because my gosh, we all have people that do that. And that just keeps us locked in, because we have to fight for and defend the position that we hold, because that's in alignment with our beliefs. So.
And these are hard to sometimes shift around, right?
Yes, yes.
So let me ask you this very spiritual question. You mentioned the soul. What is your take on this non-physical aspect of ourselves embodying this machine called body? Is it a training ground for our consciousness to go places, or what is this all about here on this planet? You know, many actors, singers say you have to suffer to sing the blues, right? I don't know whose statement that was. Who was that who said that?
I don't know, but I hear they even have green grass on Earth.
They do they?
Well, there's so many different philosophies on that, but the one that I like the most, I'm kind of going to,
because sometimes it kind
nuts.
of, talk about getting out of this denial of what appears to be so real right now. And now that you're no longer in that space, it was just you keeping yourself stuck, right?
Yes, yes. I grew up.
So what's reality, I guess, is what you're asking, right? The greater reality.
Well, I'm going to start here and go there to your question.
Okay.
I grew up in the Bible Belt with a lot of conditioning from the Deep South.
You're from the South?
I am. I'm a native Texan.
Whoa.
Spent time in Arkansas. Love Texas. I pretend I've never lived in Arkansas.
You don't even have a Texan accent anymore.
It'll come out every once in a while. But
No.
so a lot of cultural influence and religious influence that locked me into my perception of the world. And as all this garbage was showing up in my life, and it just one after the other, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so unfair, and God has this divine plan, and it includes all this crap, and if it's a loving God, why am I all these questions that we weren't allowed to ask in our church, but it stewed inside of me. And one day, I had this, I was going, I didn't ask to be born, and I had this thought, I don't know what you would call this, and I heard, but what if you did? And I went, what? What if you did ask to be born? In fact, what if you looked over all of time and space and people and said, that's who I want to be reared by? What?
You mean you choose your mom and dad?
Yeah, so, and I went, well, I mean, who knows? But I'd never contemplated that possibility. So what if? Okay, well, if I did, I was seeing from a different point of view. I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I'm going to trust that, because if I was looking through all of time and space, and I must have seen value in picking these parents, okay, I'll play with that for a bit. I'll pretend that's true. But just contemplating that made me go, okay, well, maybe this isn't such a crappy situation. And it was like 20, 30 years later that I found this quote, which then just supports that whole thing. Well, what if I really did? What if everything that has happened was all building up to give me the tools that I need for where I'm going in life? That's interesting. So then getting back to my view on it, I like to think of it as when I was out in the ethers contemplating all time and space. I did this kind of roadmap, is probably the best analogy for it. Okay, well, ultimately, this is where I want to be, but wouldn't it be cool to stop off in here and here and here and here and here and get souvenirs and experiences in all these different places? And I just kind of devised this vacation in the physical, and so here I am going along. So that made it a little bit easier too to do that. And just because I have this on my itinerary doesn't mean I have to go there. I can deviate and go somewhere else. So if which goes in with the law of attraction, what I'm attracting to me, well, maybe I was headed towards San Diego, but then as I shifted my vibration and went, well, you know what, let's just go over here to Sacramento instead, or whatever. It's all really here to serve me. It's all here to support me in reaching my final destination, whatever that is.
Seems to be the key, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Enjoy the journey.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows what the destination is.
Exactly. So who out there right now, we sort of talked about some of the kind of crisis situations people could be in, but you know, who should be contacting you right now to kind of benefit from what you have to offer? And does it have to be in kind of your part of the country? Does it have to be kind of local, or can you do stuff remotely? Or
no, I can do Skype, I can do phone, in person. It's more of whatever the other person feels most comfortable with, because if they're remote and they need somebody face to face, I'm sure that we could figure out a way to connect with a face to face, someone else to support them face to face if we can't geographically get together. But yeah, because it's all energy.
Right.
It's not limited to time and space.
So people watching this, right? Whether it's now or in the future when it's on YouTube, they're either resonating really nicely with you, or hopefully they are. Anyways, the ones that are, they can get in touch with you. What's the best way for them to do that?
If you go to my website, my email address is the best way. My email address is all over the website. You can't miss it. But the website will kind of give you kind of a general idea of the different options, possibilities, something you might be experiencing. But it's really wide open.
Yeah.
If you're feeling like you need support in whatever area of life, then if I can't help, then I can certainly refer out, because I think that we're all in this together. And if I'm not a good fit for you, then maybe I know somebody who would be a better fit. And it might not even be that person. They might lead you to another person that's the best fit, that's who you were, like your San Diego, Sacramento thing.
Yeah.
You were trying to get to, but this was
It
the
has
avenue
to
to
go
get there.
via Julia first.
Yeah, and it could be, or it
Yeah.
could be come to me, but there's a lot of different things, because I have such a diverse background and a lot of experience, not just in my own personal stories and drama, but just like with work background, and all these just different things, education, all these different things that I've had my fingers in different pies of, that I can, if I can't support, like I said, I can make a referral out, because it's all about what's best for the other person.
And that's the website, right? LifeSupportsMe.com.
That's it.
So they can check it out. Maybe they're even going to get enough inspiration just from checking it out that they can solve their own problems.
That would be great.
Because life supports them.
Right.
And all
Life
of us,
supports
right?
all of us. I love that website choice, actually. It's wonderful.
Well,
And indeed, I mean, look at how you supported yourself, coming out of a dark hole, being separated from your children, coming all the way around to now have a new family and supporting others to find their journey creating their journey more pleasant and hopefully satisfactory in the end.
Right.
It's been
And I have
an
to say,
awesome journey how we even got together, so we need
Yes.
to talk more.
and just that attitude of what if this is perfect? What if there is perfection in this? That unlocks so much, because we get locked into how it should be and ought to be. We're conditioned that things need to be this way, the archetypes of how it should be, and then when it deviates, then we get kind of, but if that's perfect, then it's so much easier to
Yeah, you know, it
navigate through.
didn't make sense a long time ago when I read a quote by Einstein saying, you know, living life as if nothing is a miracle, or live life as if everything is a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you for being part of our miracle today.
Oh,
It's been
thank
lovely
you for letting
having
me join you.
and hope to see you soon.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Okay, so we're going to take a little break here on thatchannel.com. Come back with our next guest. And Julia's going to get ready for her trip back to Port Colborne. Fabulous Port Colborne before the rush hour. So we'll be right back here. Liquid Lunch.